I want to start by saying that everything that I say in this video is of my own personal opinion and the way that I perceive the series that I'll be covering as a whole, which will be the Naruto series. Well, I probably won't be covering all of it, but mainly just about Boruto because I am part of the very small minority who actually enjoys the series. I'm not saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. There are definitely better anime manga out there. Bleach, which just so happens to be my favorite, and I'll stand by it and all of its peakness. Jokes aside, I'm going to be talking about why I love the Boruto series and how it could be fixed. And how it can be fixed actually doesn't have anything to do with it, the series itself. More so the end of Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden is something that I actually had to come back to, something I had to pick up again after a long hiatus on the series because I kind of let the episodes stack up and then I lost a way to watch it. Now, with Naruto, Part 1 Naruto, loved it. Action packed. I remember my first actual episode of Naruto was when Jiraiya threw Naruto into that giant chasm and he summoned Gamabunta for the first time. That was hype. And then I also remember the Chunin exams where Sasuke was saucing up Gaara for like 4 minutes straight. That was also peak in the series at the time. But yeah, I finished Naruto. I also read it as well. I read all 27 volumes. Straight heat. Then I watched Shippuden. I watched Naruto Shippuden up until Gren Chio and Sakura beat Sasori, and then I completely fell off. Then I came back to the series like a year or so later. I watched it until Naruto beat Pain, and then I dropped the series again because I just could not keep up with it. And I lost a way to watch it actually because originally I was watching it on Disney XD, which used to be Jetix for you veterans. Then instead of watching it, I decided to read a little bit of it, and I finally finished it like a year into me watching Boruto. The manga had ended a while ago, and I didn't have an excuse not to read it or watch it anymore. So I just decided to read Naruto Shippuden, and it was heat. But I do not like the way that it set up Boruto because I feel that it just kind of didn't. I just feel like Boruto was a spur of the moment thing, sudden inspiration that got greenlit by the series creator. And it just kind of allowed Ikimoto, the creator of Boruto, essentially, to go wild with his ideas, which I didn't mind. But back to what I was saying, they could have done a lot more setting up for Boruto, but I do realize that it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing when it dropped. When that announcement kind of dropped, it kind of blindsided everybody. And everyone was thinking, hey, this is done. We got a movie. We had the movie for Boruto where Boruto defeats Momoshiki. And it kind of got me questioning, well, what will this Boruto series be about? Well, turns out that it was about Boruto living in the era of peace and his world being turned upside down by the consequences of his action. The consequences of one's actions, I feel, is the main driving force in Boruto. Simply put, like the cycle of hatred was the driving force for Naruto between Naruto and Sasuke. The parallels are there; they are very much there. I feel like with Naruto and Sasuke, the parallels are there. They mirror the cycle of hatred. And then with Boruto and Kawaki, Their parallels are also, like I was saying, the cycle of hatred is over and done with. It is now the time where the characters are now dealing with the consequences of their action. Boruto is dealing with the consequences of his actions through defeating Momoshiki. And Kawaki is dealing with the consequences of his action, or rather, he is the product of another person's actions. That person being Jigen, or Ishiki for those who are caught up. But going back to what I was saying about how Boruto was set up, I personally feel that there could have been more work or more thought put into it. I really don't like how it was set up. I really don't like how the series itself just started out so out of the blue. I feel like that could have been a perfect setup, and the way that it could have been set up is what I'll be covering for today. What I'm going to cover, or what I'm going to do, is give my thoughts on how Boruto could have been set up properly. Essentially, I'm sorry for this rigmarole, but I'm going to get into it. Now, how I think Boruto could have been set up more perfectly, in a more perfect manner, is that the end of Shippuden should have. I am a firm believer that that Shippuden should have ended with Madara being the final villain. I feel like we have the perfect setup for Indra and Ashura. We had a good way to defeat our villain. The way that Kaguya was defeated is the way that Madara should have been defeated. Naruto and Sasuke, they defeat Madara, and the series goes on from there. You know what I'm saying? They defeat Madara the way that they would have defeated Kaguya. I feel like the last movie, Naruto the Last, where Hinata is kidnapped by Tenori on the moon, I feel like instead of that, we should have gotten Kaguya coming back instead. The Black Zetsu takes over Madara's body, who is sealed. He wasn't defeated, because remember, Kaguya was not defeated. She was turned into the moon, and I believe sent into another dimension. Actually, Black Zetsu transforms Madara into Kaguya, and she transports herself back to Earth, or back to the Hidden Leaf Village, where the entirety of the Hidden Leaf Village have to deal with her now, and they defeat her the way that they defeated Madara, essentially, because it was impossible for them to actually kill her. That would have been reserved for Boruto, or with something like that would have been reserved for Boruto, actually. After the last movie, where they seal Kaguya away, we would get 3 light novels, actually, that go into Naruto becoming Hokage, and the interest that it was being piqued about the Otsutsuki. And he would send Sasuke on his journey to look into those things for him, so that they could formulate some kind of game plan just in case another invasion of the Otsutsuki, or someone as powerful as Kaguya, would ever arise again. We get a second light novel, which would feature Sasuke finding these things, just like we see in the Boruto manga, that the Otsutsuki come in pairs. The Otsutsuki come in pair. We had Ishiki and Kaguya. We had Momoshiki and Kinshiki. They came as a pair. I guess if you want to count Uroshiki too, tagging along, I suppose, but he isn't really a pair, more so of a stowaway in the series. That's if you want to count him as a canon character. Now we're trying to figure out in the second light novel that Sasuke is picking up more and more information about the Otsutsuki, reporting it back to Naruto. But before he can do that, he is stopped by Momoshiki and Kinshiki, who decide that they want to engage in combat. And so that light novel ends with a face-off between between Sasuke and Kinshiki. Now, the third light novel would actually be about Boruto enjoying the era of peace that the Leaf Village predecessors of old fought so bravely for. They fought Madara for. All the nations are at peace with one another. The Leaf Village is, all the villages are terribly advanced now. But we focus on Boruto and his story and how he's growing up, the way and the way that he is and how he's viewing his father. He doesn't hate his father, contrary to popular belief. But the way that he is now, he only sees that the Hokage is a job where the Hokage is not allowed to see his family or spends the bare minimum time with his family. We get that character development. We start to see how Boruto actually views being a Hokage as opposed to his father, who views it as the toughest job ever, but also the most important job ever. It's something that he strove to be for the very longest time, and I'm so glad that we got to see Naruto achieve that dream of being the Hokage. However, his son does not feel as strongly at all about being the Hokage. In fact, he hates the title of being Hokage because all he ever wanted was for his father to be present in his life, or have a stronger presence rather in his life, which is why we see in the Boruto manga, that Boruto does not want to be Hokage. He doesn't strive for that. That is not his goal. Rather, so someone who assists the Hokage from the shadows, like Sasuke, which is where the parallels of Boruto and Sasuke being one another, they really come into play. You know what I'm saying? Boruto would be a positive version of Sasuke, where if he would have stayed in the village and done things the correct way, he would have turned into kind of who Boruto is now. He probably would have been like Boruto, if anything. Just in my personal opinion. But we did get a time skip recently that showed Boruto leaving the village, not because he wanted to, but rather because he had to. Sasuke left the village because he wanted to. He felt that he wouldn't get the power that he needed in the village, so he sought other methods. Cue Orochimaru. But anyway, back to Boruto. We would see his daily life, him growing up, him joining the academy and everything, things of that nature, and telling us his resolve, at that age. We would also, at the end of the conceptual Boruto light novel that would have strung this stuff along, we see Sasuke coming back and giving Naruto this information about the Otsutsuki. And that would also lead into the Boruto movie, where we get to see Momoshiki and Kinshiki coming down and ruining ruining the Leaf Village, destroying it. Boruto's very first high difficulty encounter with strong opponents. Throughout the Boruto movie, we see Boruto getting that character development, seeing what it means to be strong, what it truly means to be the Hokage for the Leaf Village. He finally gets to see his father's standpoint. We get to see him grow, and that's the thing, because we didn't have a lot of character development for Boruto at that point. We only just had the movie to go off of. Because we didn't have that character development, it was not very well received, because it was like, okay, he feels this way about being the Hokage, and now the ending is open to some sort of interpretation. I guess he loves his dad now. But then we get the series The series is I like the series for Boruto honestly because it's filling in some gaps for his character development, but not all of them, which is why these conceptual light novels not only would tie in the end of Shippuden better, but it would also give Boruto some much needed context and development for some of its characters. It would also give Boruto some form of likability before the animation even begins. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't have that when the anime begins. He doesn't really have it in the manga either until like a couple, like 10 or so chapters in. We don't really get that. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not there. It's just there. It just gets there too late. Boruto suffers from a lack of character development. I'm sorry. No, not a lack of character development. A lack of early character development. And I feel that some people are justified in thinking that Boruto simply rides the coattails of its predecessor series, Naruto. And I completely get that. Yes, Boruto was kind of just hoisted upon us, which I didn't like. But I did like the fact that we got a new series. I do like the Naruto series, and I would love to explore more of the Boruto world, more of the Naruto world through Boruto's perception. And that's what we got. Now, well, that's what we're getting now. I feel like Boruto had a very slow start because it didn't have anything of its own to build off of, which is why I feel like if we just follow this formula that I laid out earlier, with Madara being the final villain, Kaguya being a movie villain, a canon movie villain, then getting these 3 light novels, which would give some much needed context to not only the Otsutsuki, because I feel like the Otsutsuki also came out of almost came out of nowhere. I feel like we didn't have enough information about them to actually give a shit. You know what I'm saying? But with these 3 light novels tied in, and the beginning of Boruto changed around just a little bit, Boruto could have been its own thing. We could have had it would have been better received. Madara being the final villain for Shippuden, and with some general background of the Otsutsuki and who they are, then we would have got a Naruto light novel that would go through Naruto becoming the Hokage and what he's doing for the village, but also bringing up more about the Otsutsuki through Sasuke's research, his reconnaissance, and finding out more about who the Otsutsuki are. Then the second light novel would be about Sasuke and his findings, what he's found, and then his encounter with Kinshiki. And then the third one would be about Boruto living his life. Would be about him living his life. Would also be about him gaining the perception that he has about the title of being Hokage and what it means to not the village but himself and his family. Because at a young age, you're not going to worry about what's going on with the rest of the village. You're going to be worried about what's going on with your home. You see what is going on around you in your environment inside of your home. All you know is that your father's not there because he works too much, doesn't have enough time to see his family, and it is actively showing through the things that you do with your family. Just the constant asking of where your father is, what is he doing, why is he always so busy all the time. So we get that perception. Here's the thing. A lot of people misunderstand. It's not that Boruto hates his father. He does not hate his father. He loves his father. He hates the title of Hokage because it tears his father away from his family. All Boruto has ever wanted was for Naruto to be more active with his family. But because he is the Hokage, he is honor bound to serve the people, serve the village. That's not something that Boruto completely understands until the end of the Boruto movie. And the series takes place before the movie, which gives a little bit of background, but not much. Doesn't give us a lot to work off. Doesn't give us a lot to view, to ingest. You know what I'm saying? And the things that happen in the Boruto anime come so fast, pause, that we don't have time to ingest it correctly. And some people, they don't want to ingest it. They read. They're like people, they're like the people that only hate read manga. They read, but they don't digest what they're reading. They only read it just so they can say that they read the manga and therefore are justified in hating the series. People do it with One Piece. People do it with Bleach. I've seen some weird people do it with Hunter x Hunter for whatever reason. I see people doing it all the time with Boruto just because they hate Boruto himself and therefore the series, which, it's strange to me, but at the same time, I mean, go off. I'm not going to tell you what to do in your spare time. I'm not your father. Still, I think Boruto could have been a lot better if it had a lot more preconditioning. We had a lot more preconditioning. If they would have followed the steps that I laid out just seconds ago, it would have been a lot. I felt that it would have been a lot better. To me personally, it would have been a lot better if we had that ending, that Madara ending, those 3 light novels, and then the movie. The Otsutsukis wouldn't have just came out of nowhere. We would have had more than enough context for them coming to Earth, and trying to make another divine tree. Would have had more than enough. We would have had more than enough. Let's see. We would have had more than enough context on Kaguya and her kind. In that movie that I'm suggesting, that Kaguya being the main villain, not only would we have seen Kaguya, but we would have gained a little bit of information, a little bit of background on her character. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we get some of that in the last, but not a lot. Not too much. It just would have been a lot better with context. That's what Boruto suffers from, especially the beginning of Boruto. It suffers from a lack of context. If we had that context, I feel it would have been a lot better, a lot more well received, and it probably would be doing numbers, or more numbers than it is now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Boruto as it is now. My boy recently just got the spin. He went to the JoJo universe and learned how to do the infinite rotation, but it's not enough. It's just not enough, especially for people who are just now viewing the series. If you are coming into Boruto in 2023, I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna really understand much, because it's kind of a clusterfuck at this moment. Like me, you gotta fight for your life to be a Boruto fan right now. You gotta fight. You gonna have to bring your tools to war, bro. But outside of that, that's all I really want to talk about. I really just wanted to talk about my love for Boruto and how I think it could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot better if followed that formula. Again, that is Madara being the final villain for Shippuden, Kaguya being the villain for the last movie, the 3 light novels, and then the Boruto movie. Maybe the Boruto series first, and then the Boruto movie. And it would have made I feel like it would have made a lot more sense for that to be what it is. I would have given us a lot more context. Again, Boruto suffers from a lack of context. But yeah, that was all for today. I want to do a lot with this channel. I really do. But I think anime is the way to go, because I read and I watch a lot of anime, and I've always wanted to start recording. I stream on Twitch, but I'm not big enough to be giving my Twitch handle out right now. So right, what I'll do now is I'll keep recording and making videos about anime, and then we'll see where it goes. I have a script in the works right now for what is it? It's detailing. It's explaining my reasoning on why I think Ronkars or Ronkars can reach some similar level of Bankai, and it's a whole thing. It's just I'll write it out and I will make a video essay on why I think that's the case. And I really like the idea of hollows that have Shinigami abilities being able to reach the next step in their evolution, or unleashing their power. Because when I saw Ulquiorra unleash Segunda de Etapa, I really thought, I was like, damn, a second stage resurrection. So would that mean that the first release is just Shikai? Like, I'll get into it later. But for now, yeah, I'll keep recording and I'll see where this goes. So for now, peace.